TheWhoThatDaily.com. That's right, TheWhoThatDaily.com. Your one-stop shop for everything New Orleans Saints, New Orleans Pelicans, LSU Tigers, even the top-flight boxing news. So if you're a Who That and you're looking for a place to stay up on your team, TheWhoThatDaily.com is your site. TheWhoThatDaily.com for the sport Who That in all of us.
Go Tigers, go Tigers, go Tigers, go Tigers, go Tigers.
Tiger Talk.
Go Tigers, go Tigers, go Tigers, go Tigers, go Tigers.
Tiger Talk.
Go Tigers, go Tigers, go Tigers, go Tigers, go Tigers.
Tiger Talk.
Go Tigers, go Tigers.
You're now listening to Tough Tiger Talk with Big Q and the guys on the Pro Media Network.
What's going on, family? It's time for another installment of Tough Tiger Talk. We in this thing, man. Big ups to the Tough Tiger Talk Football Nation, man. This one's called LSU lands 2 more commits. And really, man, what could we say, man? The Tigers, best in the nation, man. Bottom line, man. As Coach O, got to give Coach O a lot of credit, man. He continues to recruit well as we're building something great here in Death Valley, man. And that's a major part of success that ultimately we will reclaim what is ours, which was the national championship. And for all those dumbass naysayers that keep trying to rank down on LSU football, y'all don't know what y'all talking about. And we'll surprise you just like we did in 2019 when we went undefeated and ran rep shy very easily through all of those programs, including the mighty Clemson and Alabama. We coming back. Remember Coach O told them, we coming. Well, guess what? We ain't never left, baby. You tried some funny business, but we back in this joint. I'm Big Q chiming in on this episode of Tough Tiger Talk. I'd like to welcome y'all in on this special Sunday edition. Just a bit of a programming note to let the family members know that we will be returning to our regular Saturday slot Saturday morning on Tough Tiger Talk. So feel free to subscribe, join the Tough Tiger Talk Nation, hit the like button, and also feel free to share the show with other LSU Football Tiger family members across the world. I'm going to bring in my co-hosts on Tough Tiger Talk. We got GM Kev and Uncle Mozzy in the building. Who that? Big ups to the fams. Go Tigers. We in the building. What's up, family?
What's up? What's up?
All right. Big ups to the fam. All right. As we get going, man, we got some news that we're going to cover with the family members. We're going to start off with it. And of course, think about it like this, man. A lot of stuff with the Tough Tiger Talk family members is we talking about the recruit billing. And we got 2 really good ones. And I want both Uncle Mozzy and GM Kev to kind of rank in on and tell us exactly what we thinking about some of these guys, because DeMario Tolan, 4-star linebacker, was a big addition, man. I really like him. And we're going to cover some of this in these articles. We're going to drop some of this on you right about right now so we can get some of this out the way. So here it is. 4-star linebacker DeMario Tolan announced his college commitment. One of the nation's highest rated uncommitted linebacker prospects announced his college commitment during a live ceremony on Thursday, broadcast by CBS Sports, letting them know that the Florida native Tolan made his decision between LSU, Tennessee, Clemson, Florida State, and Miami. Uncle Mozzy, Miami. And of course, the Orlando native is headed to Baton Rouge to play for Ed Orgeron. I guess he gives a goddamn about football more than going down to the beach. How about that? We beat Miami surroundings for Death Valley. Take that, Uncle Mozzy. Now, of course, we know that Tolan's a 4-star recruit, the number 27 linebacker prospect in the country, the top 275th overall prospect in the 2022 recruiting cycle, according to 24/7 Sports Composite rankings. Now, following the news, LSU now holds a total of 13. That's right, 13 commitments in the 2022 recruiting cycle, and LSU's class currently ranks as the best, number 1, numero uno, best class in the SEC, and the number 4th class in the country. So, man, Uncle Mozzy, Kev, talk about this addition of getting guys like DeMario Tolan as well. And then we're going to talk about the other pickup of Fitzgerald West as well. So let's chime in on Tolan first.
Okay,
Well, you
okay,
got
you go,
it.
Mozzy.
Oh, you got it, Kev. Go ahead.
Okay, I'm just happy because Q is right. We beat out Florida State, Clemson, Miami, and Tennessee for Tolan. Now Q, to be truthful, he's not a Miami guy. He's an Orlando guy.
Mm-hmm.
There's difference.
Oh man.
There's a difference. He wasn't,
Oh no.
but it's a big sign. I'm really happy for this signing because everybody can't play at home. There's only so many slots available, and he might see himself with a slot with a big school like LSU in 2022. So it's a good addition. I'm happy to get him. We beat out some big name colleges to get him, and I'm really happy with this pick.
Oh, Kamazi, sir.
I mean, it's the same thing here. I mean, I'm happy with the pick as well, or
You
the
chose
pickup as
LSU
well.
over Miami, Uncle Kamazi.
Well, I mean, again, you have to remember Miami has several prospects at that same linebacker position. That's the 5 stars and 4 stars slated to come there next year. So I'm sure that was part of the selection process as well. If I go to Miami, would I be able to walk on and start? The answer to that question was probably no. He had a much easier time starting at LSU. He can go right into the system, and LSU would be glad to pick him up because there's a couple of 4 or 5 star recruits out there that's still on the bubble. But we for sure got one 4 star recruit that felt he probably couldn't walk on to Miami and start. There's always a reason. If you just follow the money, you'll find the reason why.
All right. Well, I'm just saying at the end of the day, man, that we got a guy over Miami. And of course, he gave a rat's ass about more of his professional career playing for the Tigers. And listen, it don't take a guy with a crystal ball to see that LSU is moving towards something special coming up in this 2022 class. And we are building once again. And I love it because we just talked about so wrongly in the press and put down with some of the endeavors that happened with LSU was rightfully so with the whole the Darius Geis fiasco. But man, listen, when we get to the football on the field, LSU's pulling in some of the best and brightest in the nation, and I'm very proud of that fact. Let's move on to the next one. Louisiana Fitzgerald West commits to LSU. This is another one here, fellas, that we speaking about. Another really good pickup by it, and this is coming from Go 24/7. There were a handful of new scholarships offers handed out at LSU's first summer camp session 2 years ago. One of the names who landed on the short list was Lafayette's Christian's Academy's Fitzgerald West. During Saturday's O-line DL camp, West was open to working on both sides of the ball. After his time getting reps at the center, head coach Ed O and the Tigers gave the green light for an offer. Less than 1 month later, West is committed to the Tigers, revealing his choice on Saturday afternoon in a ceremony at LCA. And of course, he was quoted as saying, quote, it was big knowing that my home school believed in me. And Coach O said, he's ready to be a Tiger. He says, yes, I am. I like Coach O, LSU's coaches. They seem pretty cool. It stands out that it's a position that I've never played before. That's unique. They like my body type and the fact that I could come in and play early. Now, the Tigers named former Arkansas assistant. We know about this, Brad Davis. We covered this as the program's new offensive line coach. And West City's already built a strong rapport with multiple members of LSU's coaching staff, including the area recruit Kevin Falk, which we know Kevin Falk is a big help, really a major force in the recruiting process here. Now, West ranks on the 24/7 Sports as the number 107th overall defensive lineman in the country and number 41 overall prospect in Louisiana. He's the 5th lineman to join the class alongside trio Louisiana prospects in Neville, offensive tackle Will Campbell, Isadore Newman, offensive tackle Bo Borderland, and Etna Carr's defensive tackle Ty G. Hill. LSU expected to take 1 or 2 more offensive linemen this cycle after the Tigers' former commitment Lucas Taylor parted ways following the team's first camp session. Taylor is now committed to Mississippi State. GM Kev, I'll bring you in here first. What do you think about the commitment of Fitzgerald West to LSU?
Q, what I like about it is that you have a guy who gave a verbal commitment, looked the man in his eyes, shook his hand, and kept his word. Which you don't usually see much nowadays. There's a lot of flip-flopping going on, So
yes, sir.
I like that he said something, he stuck to it, and now he's here. So there was an article written, I want to say maybe a month ago, probably a little less, about the top 20 offensive recruits since 2000, and they
Right.
had Eric Gilbert was in there, and I was like, I didn't really agree with that, not because of his potential, but because he really quit. So when you have guys here who saying, "Hey, I'm going to be here. I gave you my word. I'm all in," and then they're here, they haven't wavered. I like the commitment. I like the loyalty.
Yeah, that's a big part of it too, GM Kev. I can say that too with these guys holding their commitments. They
Yep.
obviously see a great position for themselves in LSU football moving ahead. And I'm just saying, at the end of the day, uh, many respects, we are outdueling guys like Alabama and some of the SEC other powerhouses outside LSU. And that for the commitment of these players. And we know if you have solid recruiting, you will compete for championships at the national level. Uncle Mozzy, we're going to bring him in here
Yeah,
and get his thought process on it.
my internet connection had just dropped, so I lost the last probably 30 seconds of which
That's quite fine, Uncle Mozzy. We was talking about Louisiana, Lafayette's Fitzgerald West. What do you think about him?
Well, Fitzgerald West is going to be a good pickup, a good commitment for us. 3 stars, I don't really know about that part of it. Defensive line, I think he's gonna come in, if not this year, probably the next year,
2022.
sophomore year. No, sophomore year, I think he'll impact. I don't know if he have a big impact coming in next year. It's a good pickup. 325. I think he's got to get down maybe another 10 pounds at this level anyway. 10. It gets real hot in August. So I think he's got to get down maybe 10, 15 pounds. I think he come in at maybe 305 to 310. I think he'll have a big impact at 6'2", coming in as defensive lineman. In this league, in the SEC, you got to be able to run. You got to be able to stand those hot summer, August and September months, especially when you get in the interconference play. So that's to me, I think that's gonna be the biggest deal breaker, coming in at NFL sized, or maybe in some cases even above NFL sized at the position. Will he be able to shed a few pounds and compete in the SEC? Because you got some unbelievable offensive line guys, 6'4", 6'5", that about 310, 315, maybe 10 or 15 pounds lighter, running, high 4s, low 5s. Can he compete? That remains to be seen.
Yeah, very interesting. And I think we got some fantastic, Coach O's on that side of the ball, man. And we got some really great coaching that's going to be happening on the defensive side of the ball. LSU's defense returns to that comfortable defense and that aggressive style. And we have a lot of talent, man, the guys that's hungry and ready to step up. Like, I'm really big on the LSU Tigers defensive line, including Mason Smith and the rest of those guys, Ollie Gay. I think it's going to be a fantastic LSU fast, furious, mean defense this upcoming year. Let's segue to another recruit that we're talking about here, and that's LSU dealing with Evan Stewart. Now, this could be another addition to that fantastic LSU wide receiver core that we consistently bringing in top-notch talent, Jamar Chase, and the list goes on and on and on. But LSU still in the mix for 5-star wide receiver Evan Stewart. Now, this is coming by way of Tiger Wire. Patrick Kahn, looking at the 2022 recruiting class for the Tigers, Ed Ogeron started, already has 4-star Aaron Anderson from New Orleans. He got A.J. Johnson from New Orleans. He got Dakotas Crawford from Shreveport committed to the class. However, there's still a rather large name still waiting to make his final decision. Now, Evan Stewart of Liberty, Frisco, Texas, has yet to make his decision, with 5 schools still in the mix. He originally committed to Texas before backing off that pledge. UT is still very much in the race to land one of the top receivers in the country. Now, Stewart originally visited Baton Rouge prior to the NCAA's dead period that began in April of 2020. He could still return for another visit to Death Valley. He's looking to lock up his final visits. Now, Stewart has visited Texas, Florida, and Alabama. It seems like LSU would be the next in line to host a 5-star wide receiver. Now, he recently spoke about his 5 names in the mix with 247 Sports. He says, and this is what he was saying, quote, he says that LSU is kind of like the same thing. They're real business. Really, it's the same thing. There's not really much different between Alabama and LSU. You know what I mean? So, I mean, for those people that's thinking, okay, well, Alabama is lengths above LSU, not so much in some of the eyes of some of the top prospects. in the country. Now, Stewart obviously values the work ethic and how much the Tigers put into that program. What will it take for LSU to lock up one of the most sought after receivers in the country? And of course, you look at his recruiting profile right here. You see a lot of people have this kid ranked very high, 6 feet, 175 pounds out of Texas. And you can see the particulars here as the offers were made from several different schools. Where would Mr. Stewart be going? And we have a real opportunity to land this guy. We're going to start with you on Mozzy. What do you think about Evan Stewart coming to Death Valley?
Well, I wouldn't delve too deep into the comments, and the reason why is because this kid seems to have his head on, and I know his handlers, whether that's his coaches or his parents or whomever, is telling him, don't paint yourself in the corner. Obviously, he's not gonna come out and say without having any commitments and not knowing where it's gonna go. LSU's the second tier subpart of Alabama. I really like to go there first, but if I can't bang with them, then I guess I'll just go to Baton Rouge. I mean, obviously he can't come out and say that. He's got to be politically correct to a degree because he still has he hasn't found a home yet. So
Right.
he can't come out and just say the wrong things. He said all the right things. I don't think we can etch it in, or we can cross it out and say, okay, well, he feels as though LSU is on the same level as Alabama because he hadn't committed to either one yet. So it's almost like having a dual relationship. Like, you can't tell one you love them and you can't tell the other one you love them. I mean, until you figure out which one you really want to be with. You see what I'm saying? But at the same time, you can't come out on social media and bash either one of them because it's going to be one of them. You just don't know which one yet. So he's saying all the right things. I think he's a little undersized. I know he's coming in highly touted, but the 175-poundness of it in the SEC kind of scares me. I'm going to just be honest. That's more of a Big Ten build or a Pac-10 build. It's not really an SEC build for a receiver. When you look at Julio Jones, when you look at Jamal Chase, these are big boys. You're not small little bitty people. So 175 pounds, I think he's about 15 to 20 pounds undersized to play on Saturdays in this conference. But that remains to be seen. It's just my opinion.
They can kind of bulk them up. He chose to come to LSU. I think they can kind of bulk them up.
20
What you think
pounds is
about
a
that,
lot
Kev?
of bulk. It's a lot of bulk for 20 pounds. I'm going to just be honest. If it was that easy, he'd already be 190.
I don't know, say 20 pounds.
It needs to be about 190, 195 to be able to take just the physical abuse that comes with the SEC.
Right.
Especially going to Alabama.
I believe he could do it. I really do. I mean, he's coming from out there. I mean, Texas is, Friday night lights action, bro. So a lot of those guys out there, man, they ready for the spotlight. He's still a kid that's probably still growing into his body too.
Yeah.
So you give him a couple of years, he can't be eligible in the NFL until maybe after his junior year. So you give him 3 years, he can easily get to that 20 pounds in 3 years.
Yeah, he can, but we need him to start now. We need him to play for us. We're not so much concerned with his NFL debut. And the NFL debut at this point, he's probably 35, 40 pounds. To go in the NFL, you got to at his height. Now, if he was what's his name? The guy we used to have over at the Saints, man, it escapes me. He went over to New England and then he went to play for the Rams.
Brandon Cooks.
Brandon Cooks. If he had the Brandon Cooks type, 5'5", 5'6" build, 5'7", 5'8" build, at that weight, it would be a different story. But considering what is he, 6 foot, 6'1"?
Yep.
At 175 pounds, that's really light in the ass. He should be somewhere in the neighborhood of 195 for collegiate, 205 to 210 for pros. He's horribly undersized, and I don't know if he has what it takes. So it's not. I don't think it's, and I think Alabama may have the same sentiment as far as him not coming in right away and starting. And I'm sure that they've told him, or somebody has told him, if you're thinking about going to a collegiate program like Alabama, everybody in Alabama seems to be 6 foot something, 200 something. So he would definitely be the oddball, and I can understand why he's still touting LSU and dangling that out there. Because it's not like he doesn't come at 4 or 5 star, but we all know how that game is played too. You can buy star recruitments. It just depends on what network you're running in, what state you're from, who your coaches plug with. Not saying that that's what's going on with him, but looking at the stature, I don't know if to me, who he reminds me of? He reminds me of Speedy. You remember Speedy? Speedy that came out of a car a couple years ago? and went over to Texas A&M. Same exact bill. Have you heard from him since?
But this is where I disagree, Mozzy, because you sounding like ESPN a little bit, bro. Let me tell you why. Because the stuff you're saying about height, weight, muscle build, all of that was the same things they were saying about a little guy that came out of Purdue and he won a Super Bowl and now he's in the Hall of Fame. I wonder who was that. So this is why I don't go on all that. Yeah, he's too small or what up. Look, man, if he's a player, players play. It doesn't matter, bro. If we can get this guy, this is a guy whose pieces to get back to a championship, getting out of state recruiting at a 5-star level, because you can trick the system with numbers and saying, oh, he's 5, but he's really a 3. But you turn the tape on, the tape gonna show you if he's a 5 or a 3.
This is the thing. Who's the best wide receiver on LSU's team right now?
That probably would be Duce, huh?
Kashawn Butte, right?
That's got to be Butte. Butte's on.
Okay.
What's Butte's what was his stature?
He's 6 feet tall and 185 pounds.
Small.
85 better.
That's just 10 pounds, Uncle Mozzy.
But listen, but here's the thing.
6 feet tall.
My target weight was 190, 195, 185. You can match that with skill, and you could fool a lot of people, and you can win some ball games. But that's still not to say his frame should be contained in a 195-pound body playing on Saturdays in this conference. That's to be as durable as he'll need to be to make a legit run into the postseason and possibly a national title. We're gonna need guys that fit a certain mold. That's just what it is.
What's the mold?
Okay, we're playing against 185, 195-pound corners at Alabama. How can we put that's running 4 threes? You see? So we run a 175-pound receiver running a 4-3, 4-4 against a guy just as fast, but 20 pounds bigger than you, capable of jamming you at the line, stopping you from going anywhere. You've got to get conditioned. You've got to get your framework and body up to go against that type of beating week in, week out when you start conference play. Because it doesn't get any better. Auburn has those guys. Georgia has those guys. A&M has those guys. We have those guys. So,
Mozzy, let me ask you, how weight-wise, how big was Devontae Smith for Alabama last year?
Devontae Smith is the exception and not the rule.
Oh.
That's just what it is. And I didn't want to say that. I didn't want to say that because I knew you would reach back there and pull it out your ass. No. That is the exception, not the rule. And you know that I tried to swing off Alabama receiver. I say, he gonna hit me with that Devontae. I know he gonna hit me with
it was coming. It was coming.
So I kind of got off them. And you know what I say? Auburn has those guys. Georgia has those guys. Because I didn't want to stay in the Alabama thing. But you still got me with it. But that is definitely the exception, not the rule. You can't give me 10 guys. You can't give me 5 guys over the last decade that have made waves in the both collegiate level and the pro level that had that body type, 6 foot tall. Even Devontae was on like 5'10".
Well, Miles, you got to remember, he'll be coming in as a freshman this year. We're not talking about a senior, about the graduating going to the NFL. He still has time to work on those things with nutritionists and weightlifting training and all that.
The game has changed. There's no animal as 4 and 5-star recruits lasting 4 years. So
I know, but at least 3 years.
He'll have to come in 1 year and bulk up. The next year, get adjusted to the system. His final year, he's playing for his NFL, contract. That's how this works. So he'll have to come in next year, and he'll have to be all weight room, all nutritionist, all for one. Because remember, his practices, he's no longer practicing on a high school level. He's practicing on a collegiate level. The collegiate level practices are going to be harder. It's going to be hotter. He's not going to be home. He may suffer a little stress from that. So he's not going to be
far from home, Mozzy.
He's not going to be far from home, but he's not going to be home. And I only say that to say we don't know from a mental standpoint. He's gonna put himself in a situation that in the onset he may drop another 5 to 10 pounds. Come
on now, House. You do a lot of this is a lot of guessing. You got to get him.
Not a lot of guessing. Bro. You got to account for the fact. And see, this is the thing that I try to tell people. You can't in sports, and you guys know this, but at some point we become fans and we turn the button off. There's always an upside downside. You can't give a situation too much upside without giving it any downside.
Yeah, we know that. Yeah, that's what we
Okay.
say. But I'm giving you the opposite side of it too. What you're saying, I don't disagree with you, but I'm saying also that there have been chances. Even if I can't name 10 guys, like you said, with that build, you've had a guy that come in just recently and dominated those guys you talk about who was big and could bump physically as cornerbacks on the line, and he ran right past them last year. And he was taking a lot of hits. So we can't say that guy's going to come in and can't take this abuse. We don't know yet, Miles. You got to get him in. If he's a player, players play, bro. I don't care what size you are. You should know that by now. We can't always look at that, but that is he got some knocks on him as far as weight and build like that. But LSU wants this guy. There's a reason why they want him, Mozzy.
Oh no, hey, I totally understand that part of it. I 100% get you. But what I'm telling you is, I don't see a situation where if he doesn't come in and immediately begins to work on his statute and getting big. You know what this reminds me of? He has a Ken Dorsey bill. Ken Dorsey was great in the Big East. He was great in the Big East, but how did that go when he went to San Francisco? You see what I'm saying? And he played 4 years. But he was
Come on, that's different.
Like 6'1", 180 pounds.
Ken Dorsey, what? I don't even remember Ken Dorsey. Was he a 5-star? Because he came out of California.
He was a 4-star recruit and won a national championship. No, I'm sorry. He lost in that. If I'm not mistaken, they lost that to Florida State that year. They lost it to Chris.
He won one. He won one and lost one. He won one and lost one.
You're right. He lost to Chris. I'm too old to be playing Winky. And then he won the final year.
We got to get this little guy a chance. We got to give Stewart a chance, man. There's a reason why he's 5-star, bro. Like I don't know much numbers you can cheat when you're saying that you a 5-star recruit, because when you see that, people gonna come in and do all the tests to see if he's really that guy.
Well, here's the thing: you can't cheat your way from 3 to 5, but you could definitely skirt 4 to 5. And 4 is different than 5. I would give him his statute. It does. 4, you still have talent, but his statute, I would not give him 5. I would have to give him 4, which begs the question, right? What begs the question? Are you sure? Are you sure the numbers weren't fudged? Because his body type just does not illustrate 5-star talent to me. I'm just being honest.
You saw him forged? Oh, man, come on, bro.
This is all I'm asking. Okay, this is what I'm saying, right? We understand 6 feet is a lot of surface area. Okay, listen, hear me out. I got a 5'10" corner, right?
Yep.
He's more compact. He runs a 4.4. He's 195 pounds. How can my guy beat that guy, giving up more surface area, giving up more weight, about the same speed? How do we win that battle? Because what you're saying is he's a 5-star recruit in the state of Texas. Well, the SEC has 5-star recruits from Texas, California, Florida, Ohio, all big market football school states. So he's no longer playing with just the guys next door. He's playing with the guys from all across the country. And
but players play, Mozzy. It don't matter. A player is going to play. He's going to adjust to the physicality and the heat. He's from Texas, so I'm quite sure he's used to the heat.
Yep. No matter how athletic my daughter gets, no matter how many weights she lifts, she will never knock me out. And she could be a 10-star recruit if she wants, but she's 4 feet tall. Like
he's selling them a little bit short because there's Hall of Famers. There's Hall of Famers at that size, either cornerback or receiver, and they were saying the same things you saying about that guy coming out of high school into college. And, he ain't gonna, and then all this, and they come up to be, Hall of Fame players. So players don't play, man.
There's always exceptions to the rule. There's always those exceptions.
It is, but that's the thing. And Uncle Miles, I get where you're coming from, but I think this kid, if this guy comes to LSU, I think he'll be a really good weapon for him because he is 6 feet tall. 175, and if you put the footage on about him, he is a multiple star athlete, track and high jumping, very athletic, very physical wide receiver. There's footage of him playing really top-notch talent in Texas. There's such a thing called the Texas blast furnace, as they call it out there, which is not exactly a humidity like ours is in the swamp, but it's more of a dry heat, very, very dry, very hot out there. Now, I got, we talk about the best wide receiver at LSU right now is Mr. Kashawn Butte. and he's 6 feet tall, 185. That's just 10 pounds shy of what.
10 pounds is a lot, man. 10 pounds is a lot.
It is, but I still say it's a lot, but it's not that much where the fantastic staff at LSU can't get him up to par to play the wide receiver. Remember, we known as a defensive backs university. We produce defensive backs, but as of recently, we know that we produce top-notch wide receivers. So LSU is known as DBU, but really on the slick, we produce some of the best wide receivers in the nation. We've had Jamar Chase. We've had, it's so many of them. I can't even, talk about them.
Given his comments that he made about Alabama, it to me, it sounds like they may have had dialogue that didn't sit well with him, because there's a huge difference between, let's take ourselves out of it and let's look at how the general populace looks at it. Not fans of LSU football. General populace, there's a night and day difference between Alabama and LSU. If we just look at the titles and we look at the overall history of the program, so we can start there. For him to say, and he's a football guy, he's supposed to have football knowledge.
But you know what? But Mozzy, when you say the whole history of Alabama, that's not true to a degree, because there's a lot of rules, and I don't want to get into it right now, why Alabama's history is so, because you're going back to the Barry Bryant days.
I could go back. Honestly, we can start from 1990. We can do a 30-year cross section from 1990 to 2020, and arguably Alabama has had more winning seasons and more SEC championships and more NCAA titles than LSU. So for him to say there's not much difference, there's a big difference. There's a huge difference in LSU and Alabama, and those differences have systematically stopped LSU. If Alabama was in the SEC East, LSU would have a much higher winning percentage. Period.
I just think players sometimes don't see that like the general public. When you a player, you don't look at it like that, bro. Like, you want to go to the best situation or best fit you feel possible for you. Right. And he could have went on this visit and had a not so great conversation with a lot of those Alabama guys.
And that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm thinking. Something didn't sit well with him as far as the dialogue they had. Mm-hmm. Because for him to me, he's how do you think Nick Saban heard what he said?
Yeah.
I'm sure Nick Saban. So what do you think his overall chances of going to Alabama really playing and stuff? Because Nick Saban is spiteful. Nick Saban is the collegiate version of Bill Belichick. How do you think either one of those coaches would have responded to a would-be player who's never proven himself and is horribly undersized, right? Although he's a 5-star recruit, saying that his historic program is not that much different than a program
he has an opinion, Mozzy.
He does.
That's not truth of fact. It's his opinion.
It is, but how do you think Nick Saban takes that opinion is what I asked.
We don't care what Nick Saban thinks. We're trying to get him to LSU.
And that's what I think the Alabama boat had already sailed, is what I'm saying. I think that he already has LSU, because there's no way to really clean that up. So I don't decide to go to LSU. I decide to go to Alabama. What do you say to Nick Saban? I'm sorry about those comments. I didn't really mean it. My bad.
I think Nick Saban would feel a certain kind of way, but if he know the guy can actually help him, he got talent, I mean, that'll all blow over, man. Like, you want the best players. It don't matter, how they come, bro. So we just in that recruiting game right now where everybody's playing those games, Well, I can't really say, what happened on the Alabama trip. We don't really know. But from a player perspective, he might look at it different than how the general public looks at it. I'm just saying, like, a lot of people don't want to go along and be like, you know what? Since everybody want to all go to Alabama and keep winning championships, I'm just gonna go join the train. No, I want to beat those guys. He might have that mentality. People like that. He might have that mentality.
You're right, but what I hear is, we love to have you here, man. What you think my chances are starting, coach? I mean, I think they're pretty good if you can come here, put on a few pounds, and let's not pretend like that's not something that he's been wrestling with in his own mind. There's no athlete that doesn't want to be bigger, stronger, faster, right? So if the mirror was turned around on him and he saw his little skinny, the little skinny frame that he has, like, yo, look how small you are. You talking about you want to play SEC football? I think he might have taken that, he didn't take it with a grain of salt. He may have taken it as an insult, and that's why he made the comments that he made. But what I'm saying is, I don't think there's any going back, because Nick Saban has a bunch of recruits. He could get anybody he wants. So I think at this point it'll be personal. I don't even think it'll be a good fit if he decided to go to Alabama. We might not ever hear from him again until he got into the portal.
All right, fam. Let's move on to the next topic right here. Uncle Mozzy's pretty thorough in his analysis on. I mean, good grief. All right,
point.
I'll see what he's saying. PFF reveals their X factor for the LSU Tigers in the 2021 preview, and of course, in this side of things, we delve into what a lot of people outside are saying about the Tigers. Now, this is also coming from LSU Wire with the college football season approaching. It's just 6 weeks, family. We getting close. The LSU Tigers are gearing up for a bit of a revenge tour. So we got revenge from Death Valley. We got redemption from the Who Dat Nation, man. It's going down this year. The hope is that the Tigers will not suffer the same fate as they did one season ago. Year 2 of the post-Joe Burrow era is expected to be much better. The Tigers were top 15 in the composite power rankings. Looking toward the upcoming season, Pro Football Focus made their selection for the Tigers X Factor in 2021. This was which was put out. Despite having an offensive line that was respectable in run blocking with a grade in that facet that ranked 24th in the Power 5, LSU had a below average rushing attack in 2020. They ranked 10th in the SEC and run play efficiency, minus 0.12 EPA per attempt, by far the worst of the PFF college era. It'll be on TD Price, Davis Price, to help fix that in 2021. And that's the preview that Tyron Davis Price, who I call TD Price, has to step his game up and give some many happy returns on the field. He returns the 10th most production in the SEC in 2021, despite the fact that he only rushed for a total of 446 yards on 104 attempts last year. His touchdown production was cut in half from his freshman season. Of course, that year they had Burrow under center. With the revolving door at quarterback, he didn't seem to get the same opportunities. So along with TD Price in the backfield, fellow 2019 signee, who I'm thinking might be the big starter, is John Emery Jr. He looks to have a more productive season in 21. However, the latter did finish with a slightly better yards per carry average than Davis Price. The duo will need to help shoulder the load once again, if the quarterback play doesn't improve in 2020, but it should. So with that being said, we're going to go with you, Kev, on this one. What do you think about the X factor, according to PFF, saying is TD Price and John Emery Jr. are the X factors? Well, TD Price, in their opinion, moving the LSU's offense, helping moving and keeping it balanced into the 2021 season.
Yeah, I agree with it. I agree more so of Emery because I think he got more dimensions to his game as far as where you can line him up at and what else you can do with him in the offense. Price is more of that banging back to me. I think fourth quarter, you're trying to drown the clock out. You got to lead. Put it on the ground a few times. I think they both can do that. But Emery, I believe he can do more than what I've seen last year. And that's what I want to see from him. I would want to see him in some receiving routes, like kind of similar to what the Saints do with Kamara. I think Emery can be that type of dude if they just open it up a little more.
On Mozzy, they're trying to recreate LSU's offense, trying to recreate the 2019 success that we had previously. Of course, the running attack to a great degree last year really underwhelmed a bit. We didn't have that same that vibe. But GM Kev makes a great point about the versatility of John Emery Jr. in the mix. Can you see him taking on a similar role as what Clyde Edwards-Helaire did to have kind of give that LSU running attack more oomph?
Yeah, I mean, that's the only thing that you can do. It's going to have all roads lead through Emery's legs, right? His feet and his legs, because that's going to get our overage quarterback. I had to stick you with it. I'm sorry. That's going to give our overage quarterback some time for his aspirin to kick in, and then he'll be able to.
Are we going there, really?
No, all jokes aside, that'll give him some time to learn the system and develop the system, develop in the system, because He does not have that much starting experience. So to throw him out to the Wolves, especially in the SEC Forest, would be detrimental to have a running back that he could always just stick it in the breadbasket, pick up 3, 4, 5 yards, and get ready for the next down when the passing game isn't working. That will give him the confidence that he needs to open up the passing game. And if the defense can keep the other guys in check and keep the games manageable, where he doesn't have to come back from these 2 and 3 and 4 touchdown deficits, if we can either be ahead or slightly down going into halftime most games, then that keeps Emory a viable resource because we don't become one-dimensional. So it's going to have to really be a tandem, a combo of receiver, quarterback, and running back. But the running game is going to open up everything else. And if the passing game isn't there, we're going to need Emory to carry the entire team on his back, at least from an offensive standpoint, which is not out the ordinary because even when Hilaire was there. I mean, Joe Burrow was there. Hilaire did a lot of the grunge heavy lifting work. Joe Burrow made it look pretty. It came in a nice, pretty package, had a bag, the tissue in the inside with a big bow. But the dirty work was done by Clyde Edwards-Helaire. And that's the type of output we need from Emory Jr. in order for us to reduplicate and re-achieve even marginal success that we had in 2019.
No doubt about it. Both of these guys are going to be compared. I mean, heavily relied upon because, of course, John Emery's game is a kind of versatile guy that can operate really well in space. He also has some power to his game. And, of course, speaking of power, TD Price is the guy that he'll run over your ass. I mean, he can also catch the ball to a degree, not as good as Emory, but he's a load to bring down. He gets the short yardage. He runs really angry. And, of course,
third down back, a.k.a.
right,
third down back, a.k.a. fullback.
Right. Yeah. And of course, and there's other guys, but freshmen on the team that Coach O spoke well of, like Corey Kiner, who we have on the screen, and guys like that. We don't know how well they'll be involved in the running attack. Although I've seen last year LSU was using multiple backs, but those guys did have some experience there. But these other guys are true freshmen. So I agree with you, Uncle Mozzy, that Emory will be heavily relied on. Also, TD Price, they'll have a role, man, in this system.
TD reminds me of. You remember who was the bruising back that we had? The year Matt Malk came in and brought us to the national championship. I can't think of the guy's name, but he was a big bruising back, just like TD.
You're not talking about Hester, huh?
No, was it Devin Hessner? It might have been Hessner. I can't remember. It was like 03, 04. It just escapes me. So long. Well, no, I'm sorry. It wasn't 03, 04. It was 2007. That year, that team. So I just got to go back and look at it.
They had a couple of big bruiser backs, I think, on that team because that was mostly a power running team. If I can remember,
it was a power running team, and that's what I'm saying. We didn't have a finesse game, but like the starting back for that team, that's who TD reminds me of. But the game has changed, like the entire game of football. How it's played.
Which year was it, Uncle Mozzy?
07, that 07 championship team.
Okay. I'm gonna look that up while you breaking it down, bro.
Yeah, so the game itself has gotten away from big bruising backs, and that's the only thing that I just can't see TD coming in and just being every down back. So for me, it's got to be Emory because Emory gives me the most versatility, especially in the pro style offense that we want to run. If they're not doing it in the pros, they probably won't be doing it at LSU. Now, if you went to more of a traditional type pro, which I don't even know where those are anymore because
Jacob Hester, Keelan Williams.
Yep, yeah. Keelan Williams.
It was Jacob Hester, Keelan Williams.
Jacob Hester, if I'm not mistaken, Jacob Hester got hurt that year. He got hurt that year and was out like 3 or 4 games power running, and that's what you get with a power runner. Yep. Every time he gets the ball, he runs the risk of a season-ending injury. So
Charles Scott in there too, Uncle Mozzy. He was averaging over 7 yards average, and even Keelan Williams was average almost 6.8, and then Charles Scott got in there for 7.2, and then you got the undersized Trenton Holiday also played well. He was doing it, so they had a kind of a mix. So the second leading rusher was behind Hester was Williams.
If you remember that season, though, right? When the power run game, when we went up against, as a matter of fact, I remember the Arkansas game, the grueling 3 or 4 overtime Arkansas game that was led by Darren McFadden. We
I
needed,
remember that game.
and
Yeah, that was a good
Matt
game.
Mark had broken ribs. Or so it was a crazy game. But when we couldn't get quarterback play and they stacked the box on us, the power game didn't work. We needed a finesse guy. We lost that game and almost lost the bid to go to. And I mean, people were up in arms about that when we played Oklahoma that year because they felt well, we didn't deserve it because we were a 2-loss team.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
Right. So we don't. That power game, I've never really seen it end well because when it's not working and you're playing a team that just wants it more than you, or for whatever reason, they just got your offensive line's number. That power game has to be converted into a finesse game. And without a finesse game or a guy that can kind of give you a balance between both, like i.e. Alvin Kamara, i.e. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, if you don't have a guy that can do both in today's collegiate game, you can't have. Remember when that USC team that had Reggie Bush and Lindale White? You can't have Lindale White and Reggie Bush. It's got to be one guy now. You got to have one guy that can do a little bit of both. He's not all the way Reggie Bush. He's not all the way Lindale White. He's a balance between the two. He can catch out the i.e. Pierre Thomas. That was one of the first guys I saw in the pros that gave you a balance of Deuce McAllister and Reggie Bush and Pierre Thomas. So
well, they could win by committee, though. I mean,
I get that, but we don't. I would definitely use TD as a workhorse back, a third down back when we needed short yardage situations. I wouldn't put that task on Emory, but I would definitely have him there for all of my screens, all of my catching out the backfield for slants. I would have him maybe doing some reverses because he's that type of back. He's a scat back. He can do so many things from punt kick returns to catching out the backfield. He can do so many things. It could be all over the field. But TD is the workhorse back that you can use on the short yardage situation, goal line situations. And just like Lindale, Reggie Bush used to get them down there, and Lindale used to punch it in. So if you want this balance to work, that's the team that you got to look at. And you're going to have to use these backs really similar to how Pete Carroll used Reggie Bush and Lindale White.
Well, you're going to need some good quarterback play because also with that U.S. team, what was that
was
quarterback name? Left-hander. He was left-handed.
Matt Leinart.
Matt Leinart, yeah. I mean, he was doing. He played pretty good at USC.
He did.
So you're gonna need like you said, but the key word to all of that is got to be balance. Yep. You can't have that running back committee like you say that's intact, and if they're doing their job, then the quarterback play fall off. You're still like losing. So there's got to be a balance between both of that because you don't want to also bring Price in on situations that where you could tip the defense off. Well, we know when he come in, they're gonna be primarily running. So that could be tipped. You don't want to do that. So he would need to get, like Q said, at least a few pass attempts just to give them something else to look at. That's what I think.
Yeah, I agree with that. But again, Price is the type of back, and I think that with all of our offensive linemen returning and having the experience under their belt, I think we'll be able to line up with anybody and just punch them in the mouth, whether they saw it was in the backfield or not.
Oh yeah, if it's 3rd and goal or something like that, it's man on man, just strength on strength.
That's what I'm saying. When we need those 3-4 yards, first downs, touchdowns, when we need that, we just got to line up and punch him in the mouth. We can't put Emory back there because he's too small. So I mean, you might be able to put him back there as a decoy, or line him up in the split him out, and that will cause a defensive matchup nightmare because now you got a guy capable of picking up 3-4 yards at will. And you got another guy that's capable of doing pretty much playing any position on the field except quarterback, lined up and split out wide. And then you got wide receivers, and you got tight. So who do you check? Who do you stop? And with having all of those athletes on the field at one time, hopefully that will make defenses back up and have to readjust. And those mistakes or those adjustment periods is when we should be able to capitalize. And in the SEC, especially in September, October, November, when things start to get a little tight, those little things could either be. I don't know. You remember Alabama and LSU? This had to be 2013. I can't remember who our quarterback was at the time. It was one of those.
It wasn't good at that time. It was mostly a defensive team doing those.
Well, no. That one game we went back and forth and back and forth and back and forth, and I never forget it. Who was our quarterback at the time? I can't remember. But anyway. It came
Muffinburg.
out.
What was they got? Boston Burger or what?
Yeah, it
Was
was Zach Mettenberger. Zach Mettenberger was
Mettenberger?
our
Yeah,
quarterback.
Mettenberger.
That
Yeah,
was Mettenberger's best game ever. It went back and forth down to the
I
wire. If I'm not
remember.
mistaken,
Yeah,
you remember that game?
I
So
remember.
Yep.
yeah, so when you get into those conference games like that, it's little thing. We played well for, honestly, we played well for 45 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
But the 3 to 5 we didn't play well. That's where Alabama had the advantage and wound up beating us. And that's what this conference is. It's not about, because you could have a situation where Arkansas could come in and beat Florida, or Missouri could come in and beat Alabama. It can happen at any given Saturday in the SEC. It's not like some of the other conferences, the weaker conferences. You know that there's absolutely no way Cincinnati is could come in and beat LSU. It's just not gonna happen. But like, it doesn't.
Let me ask y'all this stuff.
Yeah.
Does anybody have the 40 time on Emory?
What's that?
What do
Emory's
you have?
40 time.
What he ran in the 40?
I can look it up, Kev.
Yeah, look it up. I mean, I don't think he's blazing fast, but I think he has a good breakaway speed. Probably about maybe 4.5, 4.6 in the 40.
I think he faster than 4.6 though.
He might be 4.5 at the fastest.
But I think you can still get him in situations like you run a lot of motion with him just to keep the defensive heads moving, and he could get one-on-one with a linebacker or a 5 and out
Well, the running back position is not the receiver position, so it's not all based on speed. It's based on lateral.
That's true.
It's based on
Yeah.
cuts. It's based on vision. It's based on a bunch of variables. Running backs don't even need to be fast until they're in the second level of defense. Going to the third level. So they got to be crafty and shifty, for the first 5 to 7 yards of every play. Considering most running backs only averaging 3.5, 4 yards, we never will get to see their speed until they break open and get past the second level of defense. So speed isn't a be-all, end-all for a running back, unless you got a guy that's really consistent at breaking past the second level of defense, and he gets into the secondary and gets gunned down every rip. Then that might be a problem.
Yeah, because if you got a running back that's going one-on-one with linebackers and he has that speed, like you said, it could get in and out of routes quick like a receiver, that's a problem for the defense to adjust to, because he's getting in and out of his break so fast.
Yeah, it is. And I mean, Emory is already a smaller statured guy. So I mean, when you are masking him with a linebacker or a safety, that could be a matchup problem for both the linebacker and the safety.
That's what I'm saying.
It's kind of bulky to hang with him. He's shifty. Yeah. He's quick. So the overall flat out burner speed. I reserve that for more receivers and more cornerbacks than I do for running backs, because running backs I look at like a tight end. Like, I need you to have really good hands. I need you to be able to block and have a little bulk on you. I need you to have really good lateral motion, and I need you to be shifty and hard to bring down and tackle. That's what I look for in those positions. Receivers, I just need you to be able to burn the guy in front of you.
Well, they relate some of the news. Oh, just a second, I'm gonna give you the opportunity to chime. I just wanted to share this with y'all. That Emory is the highest ranked LSU running back since Leonard Fournette. That's three things that's coming from the Daily Advertiser, and they talked about the fact that Coach O coached his father in college. Coach O, got that long resume, and of course he talked about he was a top 2 running back in 2019's recruiting class. You look at his measurables and where he came from. You can look right here. His 40 his speed is 4.42.
Ooh, that's a burner, man. Look,
that's a burner.
That's what I'm saying. When you got a guy like this, you could put in motion, and this could be a problem, Mozzy. Like, I know what you're saying for the traditional, what you want from a running back, and that's more of the old school mentality, because I like it too. This could be an X factor, another component that makes the defense hard to adjust to, because if he gets one-on-one with linebackers or even some safeties, more likely he burning them if he could get the receiver concept down into getting in and out of his routes once he's downfield, because he's already shifty and he's big enough to probably run over some safety. He's big enough.
Oh yeah, there's nothing in the secondary that really wants to go up and tackle him.
Right.
So no, I can definitely agree with that. They probably don't have many linebackers that want to. You got to kind of be one of those weird 315, 325-pound defensive tackles that don't get a
Special
lot of
breed
action.
of X-Men or something. Yeah.
Yeah. So like you gotta get somebody that's out there coked up. Like let me at him. Like Steve Latimer off like the program or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, steroid up or something. Man, nobody wants that. Who wants to take that in the chest? What's Emery like 5'6", 5'7"?
No, he's big. How tall? How tall is he, Q? Oh, 6 foot, huh?
I don't think he's 6 feet. He can't. I don't think I think he's a little
I think
smaller than that.
You think so?
I give
I
him
think
about
he's about what?
5'8" at the tallest.
He's about what? He's over 200 pounds though, right?
Yeah, he's about 215, 220.
That's what I'm saying. He's big enough to like once he get downfield, he drop his pads on you, and it's over. It's daylight, bro.
Yeah, he's an oversized safety playing running back.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, that they need to exercise that option more. Like I thought that, when I seen him play, I'm like, man, he could do much more than what they doing in the offense. Like, you need to go back and readjust this because every offense fits a team different. Like, in all our championship wins, we didn't win them all the same.
No, we didn't.
So we can't.
Every year the dynamic is different. You're right about that.
Yeah, right. So we can't go in thinking that we're gonna use the Joe Burrow offense and just put it into this and it's gonna work. That's not necessarily true. You got to play to the team's
believe
strength.
if we copy that 2005 USC offense, then we'll be fine.
Yeah. I kind of agree with that too. Because I think Reggie's position would be Emery's
Emery. It will be Emery's position,
right?
Correct. But guess what? He's bigger and faster
than Reggie
Bush. Yeah, Reggie ran like a 4.48.
Yeah, Reggie he was. I don't know. I don't remember his college time, but man, he was blazing fast though.
Yeah, but he was about the same. He wasn't under 4'4", and he was definitely only about 185, 190.
Yeah, he was small.
So you got somebody, and I mean, y'all not gonna like this. Y'all ready for it? Y'all not gonna like
All
it.
right.
Y'all got somebody Bo Jackson-esque in the backfield.
Well, Bo was a little bigger though.
Bo was only about 240, but that was NFL
weight.
He
240. Yeah, he 240 though.
240. He was only 230 Auburn weight.
Okay, in Auburn, yeah. I mean, still, that's big for a running back though.
Yeah, but Emery's 218, 220.
That's what I'm saying. So you get him with the speed, and they didn't even use Bo like we talk about how we wanted to use Emery.
No, it was a different game back then.
It was different, yeah. So you using Emery like what he could be in the secondary, and you ask your DBs to tackle this 220-pound running back when he drop his shoulders too, bro. That is
nobody
they don't want that.
I know, and like I say, he's Bo Jackson-esque.
That could you might got a point there. Point there.
Nobody wanted to get in front of Bo at all. Nobody really wanted to get in front of Fournette. But Fournette wasn't 4'4". What was Fournette? 4'5", 4'6"? Yeah, he was. He's
a little slower than that, but he was more big. He was a bigger back too, though, wasn't he? About 225, 230?
Like 225 to like it was really like a 5 to 8 pound difference between the two backs.
Yeah, he kind of more ripped though. Like you look back when I remember him at LSU, he's more ripped than Emery. More kind of like a slender 218 seemed like it to me. I don't know.
Yeah, but I mean, slender, not slender, that density moving at that speed hit you. It doesn't matter what the package look like. You
want to feel the impact, huh?
That's it. Then I'm gonna tell you, if I get hit by a new car going 50 miles an hour or old car going 90 miles an hour, I mean, what the car look like don't matter. Who did hit me at 100 miles an hour gonna punish me?
Yeah, you're right. You're gonna have them bruises anywhere it go.
Anywhere it goes. So once he get moving, that 4'4" versus 4'5", 4'6". If he gets up another 5-10 pounds, he's gonna be even in stature with Fournette, but even faster.
I know. Emery,
that's
what I said. To me, he is like the unknown factor that can be unlocked. His potential still have developments, like dimensions can be unlocked in this game if they only put it in right. Like you said, it's a system. Every team, when you win a championship, you may not win it the exact same way you did in 2019 or the 2007 or even 2003. You have to go off the strengths of your team and what they can do best. And I mean, look, man, this guy that fast, you can't tell me he don't know how to run outs and hooks routes. I mean, from a wide receiver standpoint, those are easy to run.
let me see, because going back to that team, that SC team in 2004, 2005,
Mhm.
that's the team that we split the championship with LSU with. Remember
Yep.
that team? Okay.
Mhm.
Did they not have who they had Steve Smith on? They had a couple of people on that team, didn't they?
Yep. Yep.
They had Steve Smith on that team. He ran
Yeah.
like a
Steve and
4.4.
Simon. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So when you look at that team, we're really close. We're really closely matched with that team. When you look at like our top to bottom versus their top to bottom, I think that'd be a really good look to kind of mirror that team. I want to see if they kind of do that.
You got a good point, because even you would have even a quarterback would be a left-hander like Matt Liner was.
That's what I'm trying to tell you.
I never thought about that. That's wow. That's you right on with that one.
Yeah, that's an eerie comparison. That's a real eerie comparison. I'd like to see it. I tell you that. I'd like to see it, and I think that if we did that, because I don't know if y'all remember, but that SEC team scored a lot of points because nobody could stop them. It's like every time they scored. So if we could duplicate that success here with those pieces, man, it.
Yeah, because think about this. You had like Lindell White doing the dirty work, and that would be that'd be Price right now, right?
Right,
He'd be doing all the
Lindell.
hard work, and then you had like, Reggie would be doing all the flash stuff. Will be, Emery what he's doing, and you put Max Johnson. That's got to be the game manager, where the game is not always on his shoulders.
Right.
I would like that.
He could be that man lineman. Yeah, he could be that lineman. Well, as a lefty, that makes the secondary have to work even harder because he can roll out new things that other that they don't see every week. They don't play against those guys every week. Their guy is right-handed, so I mean,
right.
It looks good to me.
And then too, you back here?
No, yeah. I've been here. I've been listening to you.
Okay.
I just want to make sure I give a shout out to the entire LSU Tough Tiger Talk Nation. We in the building, and Kev, you can finish your point. I'm gonna bring up a couple of questions. And the family members that's listening, do me a service. Please feel free to hit upon the like button. Please subscribe if you're not a subscriber and join the Tough Tiger Talk Nation. As you can hear, we having some really good discussions about our LSU Football Tigers. Feel free to chime in if you're listening. Share the links on your social media feed with your other family members who are LSU football family members as well. So we got a couple of questions that once you finish your response there, GM Kev, there we got a couple of responses. Big ups to the family members. Shadrach, what's up, brother? Tim, Damien, big ups to you, Brandon. I see you, Brandon. Thank you for being here as well. And the rest of the family members. We have two questions once you finish your response, Kev, from Damien. It's action about the top teams in the East. And also Brandon wants to know about who we see starting at linebacker and safety. But go ahead on, and we'll start with Damien question after your response there, GM Kev.
Yeah, well, we were just talking about the similarities of this team and how it compared to what was that, Mozzy, the 2005
USC team.
Yeah, USC team. And
the the ironic part, they split the title with us.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. And I think what will make us more dangerous is that Matt Liner didn't really use his feet. Well, he couldn't. He wasn't that athletic as Max would be. So that's another dangerous component that we will have a leg up even over that offense if it was inserted right. So yeah, I agree with that, Miles.
Yeah, I can't wait to see it.
Yeah,
as long as Paul Johnson can get right, we'd be all right.
We're not gonna go there, but I think we know that we look at let's go into Damon's question. We're gonna start with you, Uncle Mozzy. He's asking, "Hey, Big Q, who do y'all think the top team over in the east side of the SEC?" Uncle Mozzy, we're gonna chime in with you, then Kev, and then I'll give my response afterward.
All right, looking at the east, I'd have to give it to Georgia. Period. I'd have to give it to Georgia. Florida come in a close second, and after that, man, that east just kind of falls apart. That's pretty much it. Yeah. Like Georgia, Florida, everybody else. I mean, you pick Tennessee, Vandy, Mizzou. I mean, it doesn't really matter to me, but it's like Georgia, Florida, and everybody else.
Yeah, I would say I probably would go Florida, Georgia.
Yeah, it really 1 or 2, really however you want to slice it.
Either way you want to go, because it might be 1 or 2 losses as the season ends, like right behind each other. So yeah, Tennessee haven't been doing nothing in years, so now I don't see that. Yeah, Florida or Georgia, Auburn probably could sneak in. I guess I don't know.
Yeah, I would throw in there. I would have to say Florida. Although
Yeah,
I think Georgia is up there as well. I would put Florida ahead in my rankings. As they become quite problematic. I think Coach Mullins down there is really building something exceptional. And the
yeah,
last several times we played Florida, we had to go down to the swamp. By the way, last year's win over them was very satisfying. But they are a very difficult team to deal with in the SEC. And of course, I'm gonna share with Damon even go even further in it. An article that I had pulled up when he asked that question. Let me see if I can get it here. And this is the rankings from 24/7 Composite. Let me see if I can get that on screen right here. As you can tell, here it is right here for the fellas to kind of peer over to. This is their version, 2021 SEC football team rankings, and a chase for the recruiting champion, powered by the 24/7 Composite. And of course, this is the team rankings as they called it, with Alabama perched on top, LSU's right next to it, and of course, we talking about the commitments. But at the end of the day, that does translate into success of the team. If you're really getting good recruiting classes, that translates into overall talent of the team, which means you're competing at a high level. You're doing the right thing. So as you can see, LSU and Alabama sitting right there. You see Georgia, Texas A&M, and Florida's fifth. But I really have a lot of respect for Dan Mullins. You remember he came from Mississippi State, took the job in Florida, which was very difficult. They basically ran that other coach out of there, threatening his life because he wasn't winning. You remember that? It's difficult to win there. And they're serious about football. You can't be going down there losing. He took that job knowing that that other guy was under fire, and he's returned good returns down there in Florida. So got a lot of respect for Coach Mullen. But I would have to say Florida, then Georgia in my ranking. So thank you, Damian, for that. Hope that answers your question, my brother. Appreciate you. All right, let's move on. Yeah, go ahead, brother.
Can I one thing on that?
Yes, sir.
I do agree with Florida, but for me, the only thing about Florida is they always find a way somewhere around the middle of October, either right after our game or right before our game. Sometimes during the LSU game, because it's always the week of my birthday or the week after. Florida just falls apart. I don't know what it is. They come out the gate smoking, and then all of a sudden they fall apart. Every single year, it's the same thing. It never fails with them. So for me, that's why I have to. Georgia just shows more consistency down the stretch for me, and it's been that way for the last couple years.
Yeah, and Uncle Mozzy, I got him on the screen. Once again, this one's coming from from ESPN's SEC Conference Football Power Index for the upcoming year. You see Alabama sitting up top there. Georgia is perched at number 2. A&M, the Gators there, and they got LSU down here. I think at 7th. Right here is the Power Index right here, but they got Crimson, Georgia, Texas A&M, the Gators, Auburn above LSU in this one, followed by the Rebels, Bulldogs, and others. So, I mean, it's different, but like I said, I would have to say Florida. Now, Georgia is close, though. I would have to agree with you guys. All right, let's go to the next question here. That's coming from Reese, from Brandon. He says, who do you want to see start at the linebacker position and safety for LSU this season? We'll go with you, Kev, and then Uncle Mozzy.
Well, I know, let me see, man. I really don't know yet because I know that they got a lot of the recruits in. I mean, you know, they're going to have to sort out. So I haven't really seen anybody stand out, in my opinion. So I really don't have no favorites for linebacker or safety right now, really. I really don't know. Until we get more tape and more info, I don't have a favorite. I just want the best guy to be out there. I don't have no say-so in that one yet. I really don't know.
Yeah, I'm looking at the defense right now at safety. You know, we know about Stingley Jr. and Eli Ricks. We know about those guys, right? But in the secondary, along with Jay Ward and Todd Harris, I mean, those seem like the guys that will probably line up there at the safety position. Because I mean, I've seen a lot of reports, and people are big on Jay Ward, and also Todd Harris Jr. has a lot of tout for him too. But we could be looking for other guys trying to push those guys underneath them. So we'll see. But Uncle Mozzy, and then, of course, to address the linebacker position, I mean, you have Mika Bakersfield on one side, and a middle linebacker position, Navonta Q Strong, which his name is his game, how he plays,
And
ferocious,
go
smart,
ahead,
hard-hitting.
say the next dude. Say the next dude.
Mike Jones Jr.
Oh,
Mike Jones.
I
Mike
couldn't wait to
Jones.
say it.
Mike Jones. But go ahead, Uncle Mozzy. What do you think about linebacker and safety?
No, I mean linebacker. That was who I was rolling with as far as linebackers. Todd Harris is definitely going to be the starting safety. I don't think they're gonna rock the boat too much. Even though they got new recruits coming in, they're gonna have to really step up and play some hellified or have a hellified camp and come in and just show Coach O and everybody else something totally different that I'm not seeing right now. But as it stands right now, I think the roster on the defensive side of the ball. Here's what we know: the defensive side of the ball roster is set. The offensive line is set. Everybody else is fighting for their spot.
Yeah, for a position right now, and we're gonna find out soon because these battles gonna have to come down, and you're gonna have to see guys making plays out there. So that could flip flop, between when the season starts. So right now it's still up in the air in a lot of spaces like that. So I can't give an assessment right now, but I know leading up to opening week, we'll have a lot of more tape and more discussion about who's starting to stand out more, making plays, everything like that,
Yeah. That's the same way I'm looking at it.
Yep. And then final question from Damon says, hey, fellas, do y'all think the trouble that's going on with Coach O will affect the season that's still out there, fellas? No. All right. So Uncle Mozzy, you want to chime in with that one first, and Kev?
But I love Coach O, but this is the collegiate level, and college football coaches are recruiters. Unless you're talking Nick Saban or something where it's just detrimental, where if that guy goes down, I mean, and even you saw Nick Saban had COVID twice and they didn't miss a beat. College coaching, head coaches in college are recruiters. That's what they are. That's why they're there. The guys behind the scene, the offensive coordinators, the defensive coordinators, the line coaches, those are the guys that handle the day-to-day, and those are the guys that actually, when you see the overall outcome of the team, those are the guys that have instilled the schemes. Those are the guys that have done the work with them as far as the weight training or the nutrition work or going over the game tape. It's always those guys. Now, Coach O does have a big responsibility to keep everything running and keep all of that together. But as far as him being the main catalyst guy that keeps the wheels turning and makes everything go, that's not what college coaching is all about.
All right, Kev, what you think about that question from Brother Damon?
Well, I don't think he has time to let it bother him. Q, he on the seat right now. He under some pressure.
Yep.
From what I've been hearing, and I hope it don't affect him. I don't think it can to a degree. I mean, I don't know. It's this is a dicey situation, and who knows who's telling the truth in this situation. It's not a good light to be in. The last thing that we needed was another distraction off the field, at the end of last season. So
right.
He don't have time to have this affect him because he has a lot of stake on this year right here. And I don't want to say too much about it because I don't really know what's going to be revealed. I don't want to say who right and who wrong because it's a strong allegation, when somebody brings this information to light like that, So I don't know who was telling the truth on that or not. So I'm just gonna have to sit and wait and see on that. Before it's football, he don't have time to have anything outside of off the field affect his coaching ability because they will make changes quick.
Yeah, not a problem. I never thought they'd get rid of Les Miles.
Yeah, they will make it. Yeah, so I'm hoping not, Q, but we just gonna have to sit back and see how this all plays out in the courts because that's where it's gonna go,
All right. And the final topic of discussion for the show is not a grilling. And of course, we talked about the Coach O thing, but the one that's dealing with former player Barkevious Mingo is another one that's popped up on the periphery now. And this is coming from Saturday down south. Former LSU standout NFL linebacker reportedly arrested on disturbing charge involving child. Former LSU standout Barkevious Mingo is reportedly facing a serious charge. Now, TMZ Sports reports that Mingo was arrested July the 8th by the Arlington Police Department and booked into Tarrant County Jail in Texas for indecency with a child, sexual contact. Now, Pro Football Talk adds that the records show that Mingo of West Monroe, Louisiana, posted a $25,000 fine for an offense listed as indecency with child sexual contact. Anita reports offered details of the incident that led Mingo's arrest. TMZ Sports shares this about the charge. We're told that is the charge is a second-degree felony. If convicted, a second-degree felony can carry up to 20-year prison sentence in the state of Texas. Now, Mingo has been in the NFL since 2013 when he was selected 6th overall by the Browns, where he played 3 seasons. Mingo has since bounced around the league, spending time in New England, Indianapolis, Seattle, Houston, and Chicago. In March, he signed a 1-year contract with the Atlanta Falcons, and I think the Falcons have, as of recently, released him. So, quick thoughts on Barkevious Mingo's situation.
Mozzy, you want to go? Because, man, I mean, I don't know. I don't even know what to say. When I just seen this news this morning, and I'm disappointed, bro. I mean, the only thing I could think of is that, you know, when he was on campus, you know, none of us knew about these situations if he was that kind of person. I know in the NFL, man, you know, you get money, and money changes people if you're not accustomed or you're not mature enough to handle it. It'll change a person's personality. So this is disturbing news, man. I mean, Jesus Christ, bro. I don't even want to even talk about it. Mozzie, you can go, bro.
Yeah, I agree. Being a family show that we are, gentlemen.
Yeah.
As much as we clown and joke, we have to. You can't really even touch on this topic because what you got to do is you got to let it play out and you got to get all sides of it. You can't accuse him. You can't say it's not happening because that would be unfair to the potential victim. And you can't expound too much because you just don't know enough about it. So to tackle this topic, for us to tackle this topic, it's above my pay grade. I'm sure it's above GM Kev's pay grade.
Yeah.
So I think that it's best for us just to kind of float on to the next topic and wish everybody in that situation well and hope that the truth does come out eventually.
Yeah.
All right. Well said, man. And that's very unfortunate. Barkevious Mingo is involved in something like that, man. And like we said, more details will come out eventually. Damien says Mingo haven't done anything in the NFL. I actually forgot about that dude till this happened. Yeah, he was.
Yeah, where did he go to Cleveland?
When he was drafted 6th overall, he didn't ball with he was pretty highly touted out of LSU, and he just disintegrated in the NFL.
So there's another element to that. I mean, that may be a root cause if that went down like that, because sometimes these people, you got to understand, these guys been doing this game since 8 years old. Yeah. So when they get to the NFL, they figure, okay, I'm done. But you're not done because now you just made it there. Now you got to fight for survival to stay there. And sometimes people fall into this depression vortex and spiral and spin out of control. And sometimes they allow thoughts that they had suppressed for so long, they allowed them to creep in because what they say was the old adage, the idle mind is the devil's workshop.
Mm-hmm.
So,
money comes into that too, Mozzie. Like, you know, that enhances a person.
It does, but how much money has he really been making? Because he hadn't made any noise in the NFL, so I'm sure he's on he's
more than the average person
at this point. Right,
you know, like when he came out, I mean, he got more than the average person would get. So,
that he did. Yeah, he did.
Yeah, you know, you get a guy who, you know, opened up his bank account first time and seeing all those zeros. And if you're not mature enough to handle it, and I'm not saying that that's him, but I'm saying some guys have fallen into that in the past. You know, when you get in the NFL or any professional sport and you start getting that money, you start thinking you're untouchable. I can get the best lawyers, I can get the best this, I can get the best that. And whatever I pay is just going to, you know, put that away.
Yeah, you begin to think you're untouchable. You begin to think you're untouchable till they show you that you're not.
Yeah, till they show you, and this could be the case. But in his case, football-wise, it's the case that, like, you could have a talented guy come out and they first experiences at the time, Cleveland, a losing organization like that, it can flip a person's whole mind switch if you're not really prepared, bro. Because you come out of a winning organization and to go where everything is just messed up at the time, you know. And some guys don't bounce back from it, bro.
Yeah, you're right.
This is the case, and like I have on the screen right here, the Falcons terminate the contract of Barkevious Mingo, and they simply release him. They don't want any part of this. So that just goes to show you the team that had him, you know, might have some more inside news on what exactly happened, and they just know what time it is and decide just to cut bait and run on them. Fontenot's over there saying, I ain't even touching this one. So with that being said, man, that's going to end the show. I'd like to thank all the family members for joining us for this episode of a Tough Tiger Talk, just to let the family members know we will be back on our traditional standard Saturday morning broadcast. Uncle Mozzy, GM Kev, and myself will be back on Saturday mornings, dropping that real deal news on your LSU Football Tigers. And I invite all of the Tough Tiger Talk family members to join us every Saturday morning for Tough Tiger Talk discussion. And of course, 6 weeks from now, man, the college football season gets back on schedule as we get ready to head out to California to take care of business. And we will be doing full games, which we will be covering the entire game live on this channel of Tough Tiger Talk, going over it real deal pregame, and of course during game and post game. And of course, we'll open up the lines of communication for you guys to drop science on what's going on with the Tigers in your vantage point. So I'd like to thank our contributors, Jim, Kev, Uncle Mozzy, and give them an opportunity to chime in. Last thoughts from the family members, Jim, Kev, and Uncle Mozzy.
Well, like you said, we're a few weeks away. A lot of the hype, stuff been written. We about to get ready to see in a few weeks, and it's going to come early. I mean, we got to go out west the first week of the season.
Yep. So
we're not going to have to wait long to see what kind of team we might have, moving forward. And I know the 22 class is stacked, but that's in 2022. We still got 2021 to play right now. So we all in a wait and see for certain positions, like you say, linebacker, what they're going to do as far as safety. The two corners are set. I think most of the D line may be set. The secondary is still up for grab for some guys. So we'll see what happens.
Uncle Mozzy, last thoughts, my friend?
Well, I mean, I'm just really waiting to see if they're going to entertain that option for that to carbon copy that USC 05 team. I hope they listen, and I hope the word get out, and I think that'll be something special to see if we can pull it off.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Appreciate the family members for chiming in on this episode of Tough Tiger Talk. Like I said, we'll be back next Saturday morning with more LSU real deal news. So with that being said, I'd like to thank you guys for joining us. Please feel free to subscribe to the Tough Tiger Talk channel. Please hit the like button, and please feel free to share the links of the show on your social media feed and with other LSU football diehards. So with that being said, we're going to chime out with you. Much love to you guys. Peace, and we out.
TheWhoThatDaily.com. That's right, TheWhoThatDaily.com. Your one-stop shop for everything New Orleans Saints, New Orleans Pelican, LSU Tigers, even the top flight boxing news. So if you're a Who That and you're looking for a place to stay up on your team, TheWhoThatDaily.com is your site. TheWhoThatDaily.com for the sport Who That in all of us.